Hi everyone. Today I'm going to take you through my coaching statement of beliefs and practices, the revised version. So, in this document, I take you through a few of my foundational beliefs, the things that I thought in the beginning of the course were the most important for being a coach. And what I'll do is I'll talk you through some things that I have changed my thinking around and some things that I have affirmed to still be true. So, to start off with, I say here in the beginning that I'm really glad that I named this document as a living document, because you'll see that there are some things that have changed, some updates, and shifts in my thinking. Okay, so the first paragraph sort of talks about the three different types of coaching: relationship-driven, teacher-centered, and student-centered. And what I initially said was that you as a coach have to move through all three of these, like sort of in order to get to the highly sought after student-centered coaching. So I said first you have to sort of develop relationships and spend time, building capacity with the teachers. But upon reflection, I think I realized that within a student-centered coaching cycle, you have everything there that you need. So where I originally thought that you would have to lay this foundation of building relationships and skilling up teachers, I realized that student-centered coaching actually lends itself to doing both of those things, and there's no need to feel like you have to spend time beforehand laying a foundation of trust and skilling up the teachers, because these two pieces are built upon organically through the student-centered cycle. Okay, I also said that I still believe to be true the fact that I don't think new teachers who are new to the school, new to the programs, in my case, new to the country, should engage in a coaching cycle right away. I just don't think that's the best thing for them, just because they need to take some time to get used to the school culture and their classroom's culture. I talked about here how my own coaching cycle, I had to spend a lot of time developing the teacher's comfort level with program-specific changes or things that were new to her. So I have this citation from Berkins where I talked about how the purpose of coaching is to impact the long-term growth of educators, and I still believe that to be true, but I do think that there is a reality of coaching, which is we sometimes have to bring our coachees up to speed with whatever program we're using in the school, because it'll be hard to enact a coaching cycle if the teacher needs some support with even implementation of that program. Okay, moving on to the next paragraph, I talk here about how I believe instructional coaches should be able to step into any space, any classroom, and make an impact. I still believe that to be true, but my thinking has shifted a little, especially in response to reading this Knight article, which I have referenced at the bottom of this paper, where Knight talks about the instructional playbook and the importance of having sort of teaching strategies right there in your pocket that you can pull from when you're in the coaching cycle. I found this to be really important when I was doing a micro modeling session with the teacher and in our naming and noticing together, because I felt like I had to keep sort of referring to or pulling out or teaching her about different literacy strategies. And if I wasn't somebody who had experience being a literacy teacher, I don't know what I would have done. I don't know how I would have pulled out those strategies. Okay, I talked a little bit about the importance of being researchers and using research in order to work towards the teacher-identified goal. I wanted to just add a little note here that I feel sometimes this research can take the form of footage of a filmed lesson. It could be a filmed lesson that you teach in tandem, or a lesson that the teacher tries on by herself. But I think filming and then watching the footage either separately and then coming back together to talk about it, or together with the use of a protocol, is a form of research. Okay, then I talked about how teachers, sit on a continuum of learning just like our students do, and that we shouldn't expect that all teachers should perform at the same capacity. So this statement was really obvious to me in my own coaching cycle, where the teacher I was working with was a new teacher, new to our school, new to the program. And so rather than just like diving right into, oh, here's some really amazing expert teaching moves that we can share together and watch each other, we really had to go back to the beginning and talk about things like, what is this program going to look like? What are some tiny steps we can take in implementation here? So that might have looked different for a more experienced teacher. And then moving on to the next paragraph, I talked about the idea of coaches recognizing that they might have to be very accountable for their role and make their role very clearly known. And Berkins once again refers to the fact that coaches shouldn't take on any administrative roles. This has been a real struggle for me because in my school, I am part of an administrative team who I meet with weekly, and we talk about things like what's happening in the school and how are the different teachers doing. And so I've really had to, in this current coaching cycle, try and separate those two roles and make sure that I'm not losing any trust from that teacher, or even just in my own mind, knowing that I'm not taking any of the vulnerability that she has shared with me and bringing it into that administrative space. And then my last paragraph, I talked about how I felt coaches need to be flexible, be willing to be handy in any situation, and be there because they're not teaching full-time in a classroom. So there is that extra space and time. And I still feel that's true, but I did have a lot of experience this term with being pulled in too many different directions, from substitute teaching to helping write letters to parents to talking about policy changes and training teachers, running workshops. And so it made me realize that if, as a coach, you don't make what you're working on really clear, then people are going to assume that what you're doing is not as important as what they want you to be doing. So the way that I approached this was just by really sharing the impact of the coaching cycle I was in and making sure that the administrators knew, so that they wouldn't think, oh, she's free, she's got time to do that. And then just to share, down at the bottom of my references, I added one more reference that really sort of resonated with me, which was a Knight article which talked about the 7 success factors for instructional coaching.